welcome back in a new YouTube video. Today I would like to talk about something kind of important when you start to learn French. So maybe you are already familiar with it, but maybe you are not, and it can happen because some foreigners, they actually start to learn French and they don't really make the distinction between, in French, the casual speech and the formal speech, though it's extremely important when you address a French person. So of course, if you don't know, it's okay, this is not your fault, but I think it's better to learn a bit more about it before diving deeper into the French language process. So today in this video, I'm going to explain to you how to use the formal speech, the casual speech, the differences, especially when it comes to the pronouns and the conjugation. And of course, we're going to see some sentences as examples. Let's get started. So the first one we're going to see is a formal speech in French. I think, in my opinion, that this is the most important because you want to show some respect and you want to be polite. So this one in French is called le vouvoiement. Le vouvoiement. So we use it to address to strangers, to people we have to respect, to the people we don't know or don't really know. Like if you have a neighbor but you don't have a strong bond with them, because you don't know them yet. In this case, you are going to use le vouvoiement to address them. Or when you have someone that is older than you or elderly people, in this case, you are going to use this one. It's better to use this even with someone of your age that you don't know, for example, rather than directly, starting with a casual speech and maybe giving a bad impression of a rude person. So it's much better to be polite right away. So we're going to see how to use this one. So as you know, in French, we have many pronouns, as you can see on the screen. And for this one, we are going to use vous. Vous. So this is the equivalent of you in English, but the polite one, when you talk to someone you don't know or when you start a conversation and you are still strangers to each other. And of course, it's going to change the whole conjugation, but we will see that later in this video. So for the first one, le vouvoiement, this is the formal speech and we're going to use the pronoun vous. This is the first step. Now let's see the second one. The second one is a casual speech in French and we call that le tutoiement. Le tutoiement. So this one is for the people we know very well, like friends, family members, people that are younger than us, or even people that are older than us, but maybe we know them for a long time and we had their permission, to speak casually to them, to address them like that. But this one is usually also for people of the same age. If I see someone who is the same age as me, I'm just going to assume that I can right away speak in a casual speech because I know there won't be any problem and I won't appear too rude. But it depends on the context. If the person is a foreigner or a total stranger, maybe I can stick to the formal speech and then I can ask for their approval, like, oh, can I speak to you in an informal way? So be careful, of course, always ask the people before, but for this one, we're going to use the pronoun tu, and of course, it's going to change the whole conjugation. So of course, for foreigners, most of the time, they actually learn this one, le tutoiement, right away when they learn French, especially if they don't really have any clue how to do that and what to use. This is not a mistake, of course, but you have to be careful. Once again, it's better to be over polite than to be too rude, So we are going to see right now how to address someone, how to say some sentences using both of them. C'est parti! So the first one I'm going to use is going to be the formal speech in French. So I'm going to stick to le vouvoiement and I'm going to use the plural pronoun vous. Remember, this is you in English, but very formal, very polite. So imagine you enter in the office and you have your colleagues or your boss, possibly. You like them, you know them, but the bond is not very strong, so you have to show some respect and you have to put some distance, some barrier. You don't want to be too casual, right? So we're going to see very simply how to ask how are you using le vouvoiement. So I'm going to say to those people, comment allez-vous? Comment allez-vous? Or, vous allez bien? Vous allez bien? Those two sentences mean how are you in a polite form using le vouvoiement. So I hope it's simple for you to remember, to memorize. So as you can see, I'm using the verb aller. So in English it means to go, and the translation is like this, it means to go, but in this context, when we ask someone how are you in French, it means how is it going? So it has this meaning, how is it going? How are you? How is it going today? So don't be surprised, for us it makes sense. Comment allez-vous? Vous allez bien? And just here you can simply ask by showing respect, how are you in French? Then if you want to ask someone's name and you want to stick to le vouvoiement, because of course this is the first time you meet them and you don't really know, you are not going to be too casual, not right away, avoid that, always be very polite. So you can ask very simply still with the pronoun vous. Comment vous appelez-vous? Comment vous appelez-vous? Comment vous vous appelez? Comment vous vous appelez? So here, in a very simple way, I just asked in French, what is your name? What is your name? Using le vouvoiement. So I stay very polite. You can also say, quel est votre nom? Quel est votre nom? Same, what is your name? So, three different sentences to ask one thing, which would be in English, what's your name? What's your name? Then if I want to ask someone's age, something that you shouldn't do, of course, when you start a conversation, but it can be very useful, of course. So you can say, still using le vouvoiement, quel âge avez-vous? Quel âge avez-vous? Vous avez quel âge? Vous avez quel âge? So here, same, two different sentences, very polite, very formal, to ask someone, oh, how old are you? How old are you? And then, if I want to ask, where do you live? I can say, où habitez-vous? Où habitez-vous? Vous habitez où? Vous habitez où? So as you can see here, the verb and the pronoun can be reversed. You choose whatever is best for you, in terms of pronunciation, the easiest for you. Où habitez-vous? Vous habitez où? And here, in a very formal and polite way, I just asked the person, where do you live? Where do you live? For the second one, the casual speech in French, le tutoiement, I'm going to use the singular pronoun, tu. So remember, we use it for the people we know very well. Family members, friends, of course if you're dating someone, because you are not going to be too formal, it would be weird. And someone that is younger or the same age, or someone that is older but you know them for a long time and you already had their approval to speak in a casual form. So I'm going to ask the same questions but using le tutoiement. So the first question was, how are you? So if you arrive somewhere, maybe at school or, I don't know, at a gym or at a party, somewhere, and you see someone you know, like a friend or someone with whom you have a strong bond, someone that you really like, someone that you like to spend time with, or just someone of your age or someone younger, you can actually say comment vas-tu? Comment vas-tu? Comment tu vas? Comment tu vas? And here I just asked this person, how are you? In casual speech. So of course you have plenty of ways of asking how are you in French. Most of the time we're going to say ça va? Ça va bien? Comment ça va? But here, even if I use le tutoiement, so casual speech, I stay very polite, of course. Then if I want to ask for the person's name, so we are strangers, for example, but we have the same age or same generation, or the person is younger than me, or maybe some friends actually introduced us to each other. So in this case, I'm going to be like, oh, what is your name, because I want to start the conversation. Or maybe this is awkward and I need to say something. So in this case, you can say, comment t'appelles-tu? Comment t'appelles-tu? Comment tu t'appelles? Comment tu t'appelles? Or you can also ask, quel est ton nom? Quel est ton nom? Then I'm talking with this person and I want to know the age. So we started to talk together, we agreed to use le tutoiement, so the casual speech. We are comfortable with each other, but still I want to know this person's age. In this case I can say, quel âge as-tu? Quel âge as-tu? Tu as quel âge? Tu as quel âge? Of course in French most of the time we contract and it can become something like t'as quel âge? T'as quel âge? So don't be surprised. It's pretty common and I also speak like this, But I just want to show you the full form, the full grammatical form, because I want you to understand how it's working in French. So here I'm asking the person, how old are you? I feel comfortable, I'm using the casual speech, and I stay very polite. You can use those 3 sentences without any problem. And then, just like before, I want to ask, where do you live? So, of course, I'm talking about maybe the area, the neighborhood in the city, or if the person is from another country, I'm talking about the country. It all depends on the context. Of course, you can be a bit more specific and you can ask in which country do you live, but we will see that later. For now, we are trying to master tutoiement and vouvoiement in French and the differences, especially for the conjugations. You can ask, où habites-tu? Où habites-tu? Tu habites où? Tu habites où? And then most of the time we're going to contract and you can hear something like t'habites où? T'habites où? Here once again, don't be surprised, this is perfectly fine, but of course I want to show you 3 different ways, 3 different sentences to ask this question using the pronoun tu and staying very polite even if we are using a casual speech. Then we're going to ask for the permission of the person if we want to drop the honorific and the formal speech and if we want to use le tutoiement. So usually you can actually stick with le vouvoiement while asking the question, or you can actually directly try to approach, the conversation and the person and be using the casual speech to ask the question to have their approval. So we have 2 ways of doing so. The first one, you can ask the person sticking with le vouvoiement. You can ask, je peux vous tutoyer? Je peux vous tutoyer? Tutoyer is the verb who comes from le tutoiement. It's pretty hard to actually translate into English because you don't do the same as us French people. So I can't really give you a specific equivalent, but basically it means, can I drop the honorifics? Can I actually speak to you in an informal speech, in a more casual way? So here I'm asking the question using vouvoiement. So I'm very careful, I stay polite, I still use vouvoiement, and I try to see if I can actually drop anything, if I can actually put less distance between the person and me. So I can say, je peux vous tutoyer? Je peux vous tutoyer? And most of the time the person will be very pleased and will say, yes, of course, no problem. Most of the time. You can also directly try to use le tutoiement to ask the same question. So you try to see if there is a way to open the door and drop the barriers and put less distance. And you can say, je peux te tutoyer? Je peux te tutoyer? So here I'm using a full sentence in casual speech, le tutoiement. So here I'm already using le tutoiement in my question because I want to see if the person is okay with the fact that maybe we can actually speak like friends. So now we're going to recap pretty quickly. Le vouvoiement, or formal speech in French, is used with the pronoun vous. We use it to address the people we don't know or the people we have to respect. Strangers, foreigners, or boss, or neighbors, or colleagues, people that are older than us, or just people we don't know anything about. And we don't want to appear as rude, so it's better to use this form and then during the conversation to ask, oh, can I actually talk to you in a more casual form, or can I actually drop the honorifics? And then if the person says yes, and most of the times they do, no problem, you can use the casual speech. Then, le tutoiement, casual speech in French, using the singular pronoun tu. We use it to address the people we know very well. Family members, friends, neighbors that we have a strong bond with or that we have known for years. People of the same age, same generation, people that are younger than us, or people that are older but we know them for a long time already and we are very comfortable with each other, and of course we got their approval to speak like this. So that's it for this video. I hope it was useful for you, and I hope maybe right now, if you didn't know anything about it, you understand a bit better the difference between tutoiement, vouvoiement in French, and what it is. If you want, you can follow me on my Instagram, on social media, and you can subscribe to this channel if you don't want to miss any new video. And I will see you very, very soon. Merci beaucoup. Au revoir.